President Bola Tinubu has appointed Assistant Inspector General of Police Tunji Disu as the Acting Inspector General of Police. This followed the resignation of Kayode Egbetokun as the IGP. Until his appointment, Disu served as Assistant Inspector General in charge of the Force Criminal Investigation Department, FCID Annex, Alagbon, Lagos. He was promoted to the rank of Assistant Inspector General of Police last year. Before then, he served as Commissioner of Police in Rivers State, before being deployed by Egbetokun to Abuja as Commissioner of Police of the Federal Capital Territory. Disu is a member of the International Association of Chiefs of Police and a former head of the Intelligence Response Team of the Nigeria Police Force, a position previously held by Abba Kyari. His appointment brings to an end Egbetokun's tenure, which began in 2023. Now let's take a closer look at the track record of Tunji Disu, a senior officer whose career spans more than 3 decades in the Nigeria Police Force. Disu joined the force in 1992 as a cadet assistant superintendent of police after training at the Police Academy in Wudil, Kano State. He moved through operational and command roles, serving as divisional police officer in several commands and heading anti-robbery and anti-kidnapping units at different times. In Lagos, he commanded the Rapid Response Squad, where he built a reputation for aggressive urban crime control and coordinated operations targeting armed robbery and violent gangs. He later headed the intelligence response team at Force Headquarters, stepping in a sensitive time and leading high-profile investigations across state lines. As Commissioner of Police in Rivers State, he led operations against organized crime networks. He was later posted to the Federal Capital Territory, where he adopted what he described as a zero-tolerance approach to crime. In Abuja, police operations under his watch targeted banditry, kidnapping, and armed robbery with multiple arrests and recovery of weapons and stolen items. In 2025, he was promoted to Assistant Inspector General of Police and later appointed to head the Force Criminal Investigation Department Annex in Alagbon, Lagos. There, he pledged to strengthen investigative standards and tackle corruption within the system. Beyond field operations, Disu holds academic qualifications in English, education, public administration, criminology, security and legal psychology. He has also undergone international training in areas such as small arms trafficking and forensic investigations. His honors, include Police Commissioner of the Year, and he's affiliated with professional bodies like the International Association of Chiefs of Police. Now, joining us in the studio to discuss this is a retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, Wilson Inalegwu. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for me to be here. Inalegwu.
Inalegwu.
Yeah,
thank you for the correction. Now, what does the appointment of Tunji Disu signal about the direction of the Nigeria Police?
Well, from his resume that you read out, I think he comes as a professional officer, a courageous officer, an officer with community policing as an interest. He also comes as an officer that will prioritize intelligence in crime management and investigation, including operations. And I think that background should place him in a position to contribute very significantly. Remember, the Nigeria Police Force has primacy on internal security. So you need a police force that is well motivated, whose leadership know the direction they should take the force. But if you look at it, the appointment of a new IG always comes with a lot of expectation. The public anticipate that that all the problems of insecurity, all the problems of banditry, of kidnapping, of armed robbery will be tackled by the new leadership as will be provided by the Inspector General of Police. But I think it's quite a lot because he's got a lot on his table and he needs the support of government. There is very little. The IG, yes, you can talk about accountability, you can adopt community-oriented policing, intelligence-led policing. He headed the intelligence response team, a crack team that has solved many difficult crimes. But he was commissioner of the police FCT, and from what I heard, he performed well. But he can do the best. So I think he needs to. The next thing he needs to add to his CV is to be able to convince government to look favorably at the Nigerian police force.
All right. Now, with Bola Tinubu making this move after Kayode Betokun's resignation, should Nigerians see these as routine succession or a strategic reset?
I think the president should have in mind a kind of strategic reset. The reason I say that is, I think he is the president. He receives information and intelligence from every intelligence agency and other people. And I think he knows that we are going to a critical year, a year of election, and the issue of security is very critical. And so in going for a new Inspector General of Police, I think the president has the mind of saying, look, there's insecurity. Let's bring a new face. Let's bring fresh hand, new thinking. Perhaps that might change the trajectory of crime in Nigeria. But the president, the IG must go to the president and say, look, thank you for the appointment, but I need this to succeed. And I think what I think Tunji should be doing, I know we'll be receiving a lot of phone calls of congratulations, but I think what he needs to do, I think what he should be doing is now having his policing priority, policing plan. And what will be his policing priority? We have election coming up, campaigns coming up. We have banditry all over the country, insurgency in the northeast, banditry in north central, in the northwest, kidnapping, and all across the country. So I think what he needs to do, if I were in his shoes, based on this appointment, I would get to work, hit the ground running, but more importantly, having a policing plan. And this policing plan, he should take to the president and say, look, if you give me this, I'll be able to execute this plan. Right. And I think that's what he needs to do, if you ask me.
Now, given his past leadership of the intelligence response team, what credibility and reform challenges might he face?
What's coming again?
I said, given his past leadership of the intelligence response team, what credibility and reform challenges might he face?
Well, when you have headed the IRT, you depend on technology to drive your operations, to drive your investigation. So I think he should leverage, if you ask me, on that opportunity he had to have the IRT. And I think the IRT is one of the best units of the Nigerian police force. And I think that's why they have a department, the Force Intelligence Bureau or department. So the IRT should give him that that background, that qualification, that he will take charge. He will know a lot, because I think he made a lot of breakthroughs. And so what he needs to do is to leverage on that. The officers in that department, perhaps he can expand it, that the IRT, Intelligence Response Team, should they kind of devolve them into the zonal commands so that you don't have to wait for Abuja to be able to crack every what do you call it, every kidnapping case or banditry case. So I think that will give effective hand to the police to deal with these crimes, even at the zonal level. That is going to help. So that means it's a technologically inclined Inspector General. And also I think it's a community-oriented policing officer. So what it does help him is, look, I need intelligence to work. He's going to get intelligence, but he needs equipment. He needs logistics to be able to deploy his officers, his personnel, to be able to deal with those intelligence he receives. Because there's no only receiving intelligence and you're helpless. And that is why I said that, look, get your policing plan.
All right.
Get your policing priority and go to the president. Look, sir, if you do this for me, I can do this, and it will help us. And so it's got to be a persuasive leader. And I think with his competence, I think he's a competent officer. And I think a lot is going to happen very well under him.
Wilson Inalegwu, a retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, thank you very much for joining us tonight and for sharing your insights.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.